Namaste, Jerome.
Namaste, Divya. Namaste. Dhanyavad.
So
Thank
good
you
to
for
be with you again.
so good. Greetings to you. So good to be with you again, Divya. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Just gonna try and get my head in the screen.
Okay. Okay. Yes. How was your day? How was your day? How did it go?
My day was, it was an interesting day. It was a good day. It was a good day. It was a day of um, really feeling, which is a new thing for me. It's actually, well, new relatively in the past 2 years. So it was a day of really breathing. So, and I had a great day of doing, doing some work that I'm very interested in, which is also giving me a lot of excitement and chances to practice my breathing.
Yeah. Yeah. We welcome all chances. We
We
welcome
do.
all chances to practice our breathing. The breath is life. So we're
Mm.
practicing, you know the life, like the life energy. When you're talking about feeling, really feeling, why do you feel like that's been a new thing for you over the past year?
For me, most of my life I've spent time really running away from my feelings. Just because I'm such a happy person, right? Like, so I go around sort of, oh, it's all light and joy. Oh, it's so much fun, and I run away. So for many years I've been in addictions. I mean, not bad addictions, smoking, drinking, those addictions. Okay, some drugs, but a lot of them actually. I mean, I tried everything. I basically run away from my feelings in any way that was, acceptable or okay. So for the past couple of years, the difference is now that I'm willing to sit with them, I'm willing to feel them, and I acknowledge the beauty and the lessons in them,
Okay.
especially more recently as well. Yeah.
Okay. What do you feel like led you to sort of learn how not to feel them? Like, what was the trajectory that led you to turning away from your feelings instead of feeling your feelings?
Mm. Well, as a child, I think we're just not, it's not meant, it's not accepted, or it's not like, your parents just want to, they want you to be okay. So they just say, don't cry, don't be sad. And they try and they try and help, but it's not allowing the child to feel. And so you grow up thinking that feeling something means something bad is going to happen. And so we avoid feeling because we associate the feelings, especially the negative feelings, right? The positive feelings, everybody's happy about that. But the negative feelings, those are associated with pain, with repercussions, with shame, with so much stuff that we don't accept is good.
Right.
Like with the process I'm going through now, I'm actually looking at those feelings as something amazing and powerful. Like this is
Right.
how you transcend. But it's not been the case before. And I think this is everybody's problem, right? This is not a problem. Well, this is just how reality is. This is how humanity is.
Well,
Yeah.
I know for the masculine, and I can only speak for myself, but growing
Mm,
up, I definitely heard a lot of, hey, be a man, men don't cry,
mm,
don't express
mm.
those emotions, be a man up, right? Man up. But when it comes to the feminine, I didn't know that you went through so much scrutiny when it came to showing your emotions. Are you saying that parental figures were the ones that were saying, like, you can't express the way you know best?
I don't feel like it's so much to do with you can't express. It's just them not wanting you to cry, not wanting. I remember when I was a child, there was one moment, my parents were kind of disciplining us. And so I was just kind of like with my sisters, I was just kind of standing straight. I'm like, I'm not, because when you were younger, it was okay to kind of use like, hitting you or stuff. That's normal in Indian culture, right? It's not like a crazy thing. So
Hitting you with?
with like a little rotan, it's like a little, what would you call it? a bamboo.
Oh, they would take a
Like,
bamboo? They would beat you with
it's
bamboo?
not a bamboo. I don't even know what you call it in Malay, or I mean, like we know it in Malay, but it's just normal. It's just how you discipline people
Okay.
in the Indian culture, at least. And so, that would be the three of us would stand there, and then I would just be holding straight, and I would just pretend I was not feeling anything, even though I could feel, okay, I'm getting hit on my hands or whatever, right? I'm getting hit, and I'm like, okay, because I did something naughty. And so what I do in that moment is I just kind of stand still. I'm like, I'm not feeling anything. I'm not feeling anything. There was this very important moment in my life. I remembered that one really, really clearly.
Mm.
It was sort of just suppress what you feel so that you'll be okay, so you
So
can get to the next moment.
and if that's influencing and going straight into your subconscious, like a mantra, like a
Mm,
mantra or an affirmation, like I'm not feeling anything, I'm not feeling anything,
absolutely.
it sounds like it could penetrate you at such a cellular level and even a cellular level when you're really repeating that over and over and over again to protect yourself. It sounds like you were just trying to protect yourself from the pain, but in doing so, you numbed the pain. Is that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, this would have been happening not just once. That's just the memory that I have, right? And this is something everybody experiences, I feel. I mean, so many children are not really encouraged to feel pain. I feel, maybe it's a general statement, but in the modern world, who's got time to manage their kids and say, okay, breathe, child. It's okay. I'm here with you. Let the tears come. Feel what you need to feel. Especially when like I was, I had another two sisters with me, so we were a handful, and so we managed our own ways. I mean, I think emotional regulation, this education on emotions should be taught in school. This is not, this is like basic human intelligence. Like how do you become a good human? Feel your feelings.
Right, right. And two sisters with you. I know one of them is Danya,
Yeah.
and the other one,
Deepa. My youngest sister Deepa. Yeah.
Diva. Diva.
Deepa. Deepa.
Deepa.
Yeah.
Okay, so Deepa, Divya, and Danya together, and you were the oldest?
Yes.
Wow, so a lot on your shoulders.
Yeah, in some ways, yeah. I mean, we were very close to each other in terms of our age difference. So in that way, it wasn't like a lot on my shoulders. I was just one of the girls, but yeah, we kind of took care of each other. It
Yeah.
was our childhood was beautiful. It was beautiful. It's just when you talk about emotions, it's just a dumb thing.
Do you
Yeah.
feel that you, Deepa, and Danya, do you feel like you each dealt with pain differently or similarly?
I think quite differently, actually. For me, I was probably the one that ran away from it the most. I think Danya was an empath, so she really felt it the most. Deepa kind of just focused on like being excellent in school. So she never did anything wrong.
Was that unlike yourself, getting good marks, getting good grades, getting good things, was that unlike you?
No, I didn't really get good grades for a long time.
Same,
I
same.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was just too busy I was doing a lot of different things too. I had 8 different badges on my thing. I was like librarian, captain of the school team, St. John's ambulance, and like 20 different things on like we had these little badges when we were growing up.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, but I distracted myself as well in school and did other things beyond study.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway,
So,
yeah.
what is your relationship, Divya, to pain in these times? Like today, how do
Mm.
you how do you cope with pain, or how do you acknowledge pain? How do you tell pain like I see you, I hear you? What is your relationship to something that for so many years was kept down in the dark, you know?
Mm. These days, the way that I deal with pain is that I feel it. I let it, I cry my way out of it. If I need to cry, I will cry it. Otherwise, I just pay attention to it. There's always information in the pain. There's information of something, um, it can be something as, okay, so I have this, for instance, this painting behind me. I don't know if you can see it, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's a little flamenco dancer.
Hmm.
And this was one of a really powerful moment for me because I'm making a practice these days of feeling my pain or
Mm.
feeling my shame is probably more accurate.
Mm.
So this painting behind me, every time there's two of them, but every time I look at it, it causes me this like discomfort
Mm.
and I just don't want to look at it. And I was like, what is going on with this painting? I feel I want to get rid of it. Not just that I don't want to look at it. I want to move it. I want a new painting. I want to change this. This thing has got to get out of my house. So, and one day, because I've made it such a practice these days to actually feel what's going on, I looked at it and I was like, all right, I need to sit and feel what's going on in here. So I sat down and I started feeling deeply into it. And I started feeling the pain it was. And I was like, what is this? What's this feeling, this shame? And it was, shame. And then I asked it, what was this shame about? And it was because the answer that came to me is that I failed in Spain, right?
Mm.
It's two flamenco dancers. So it reminds me, because I'm in Malaysia now, but this reminds me of my time in Spain. And then I asked myself, did I fail in Spain? Like, is that true? Because, I'm really ambitious. For many years, I've been, as you know, I do my hack fasting. My whole mission is to get people to know about dry fasting. And many years, because I was in Spain, I was living on a boat. I was really not doing what I wanted to do with my life. I really felt actually like I failed.
Wow.
I didn't succeed in, telling as many people. It was really hard to work from a boat. So I didn't realize I'm not in Spain anymore, but I've been carrying this shame and pain and telling myself the story that I'm a failure.
Mm.
And every time I looked at these paintings, they reminded me of me being a failure in Spain. And then I asked myself, is this true?
Right.
Is this true? And the answer came. Little by little, I saw images of what else I did. And one of them was that I did this ancestor healing process with I did a Korean ancestor healing process. So for 3 months, I chanted in Korean 30 minutes, 2 times a day, prayed and bowed to my ancestors
In Korean?
for 3 months. And at the end of it, I had set my ancestors free. I know it's a crazy thing to even imagine. It's a whole story. I saw them flying around me. It was mad.
You saw them?
I saw spirits. I saw like colors. I saw colors around me, and I could feel the energies of my grandparents, my great grandparents. It was insane. It was so insane because I kind of went into the water. I was also carrying my ex-boyfriend's parents with me. I was praying, to set them free. And yeah, when they left, so many things changed with my family.
Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You set them free, Divya.
I set them free. I set them free. I know I set them free. I gave them light because your ancestors, they hold on to you. They hold on to their, like, this is the idea, right? They hold on to their kin through the negative patterns. And when sometimes when you're feeling something, it's that pain of the ancestor.
Mm.
And if you like drinking, they can come in, they can reignite things. And I really experienced this with my ex-boyfriend at the time as well, because he was shouting in his sleep. And when he did this, he also did it. It stopped. After he did his ancestor healing, it stopped. So after I did that, I did this whole process of them flying around and whatever it was. Sort of like, God, it was like a spaceship or something. Yeah. Anyway,
Whoa.
things changed with my family. Like, both my sisters moved out. One moved to Madrid. My family, yeah, the whole unit was different. The other sister moved into another house. My parents were traveling everywhere together. I was like, what is going on here? What family is this? So it was so interesting to see, like releasing them just changed the entire reality of everybody, like everyone I knew. I was also happier. So anyway, the point of this whole story was that I had actually healed my ancestors in Spain. So I came back to that moment, and now every time I look at that painting, and I'm telling myself, actually, holy hell, I was like an ancestral warrior. I set generations free.
Oh my gosh. You changed your whole family tree, you know?
Absolutely. I saved the ones that had passed on and also the ones that are going to be born.
Oh my goodness.
How can I think I'm
Amazing.
a failure, right? How can I think I'm a failure in Spain? So now when I walk in, every time I look at these paintings, I'm like, I'm a baller. I am.
Yes, a
I know this is
baller.
my office. I'm like, yeah, this is my powerhouse.
Yes, she is a baller and a shot caller. My goodness, Divya. Who taught you how to do that? Where did you learn how to do that?
Well, there's so many different sources. I think it's Brene Brown talks about it a little bit. The work, the work. Do you know the work?
The
No.
work? No.
Oh, she's not. It's not coming to me right now. I'm sure somebody knows it. Does somebody know it in this group?
No.
No. Okay. But yeah, it's a way of like uncovering your beliefs and then transmuting them. So this
Okay.
is a really powerful way that you can just identify what the pain or the negative belief is, see it, call it out, and then change it because it's never true. You have to ask yourself, is this true? Then you say, no, it's not true. And then is it 100% true? And then you ask yourself to the next thing. So yeah, and then you turn it around to identify the truth. And now you embody the truth. So and now every time I come in, I'm like a paintings, I'm a baller. I save my family, like and now my identity has shifted. Instead of being a failure that's been running me, because 95% of we're run by like something like 95% of subconscious beliefs are actually running us, right? It's some crazy number. So that's been in the background of my mind thinking I'm a loser. Like I failed.
Mm,
And now I've turned that to like, I'm a hero.
right.
So super powerful, amazing technique to
Mm.
transcend emotions.
Beautiful, beautiful, Divya. When you said the work, I guess the first thing I thought of was shadow
Byron,
work.
thank you so much. Yes, yes.
Oh, Byron Katie?
Yes, 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 exactly.
Okay.
Correct.
The work. Okay. The first thing I thought of was kind of like shadow work. Like people talk about doing shadow work.
It is.
Pe-
Yes.
People talk about like guilt, blame, and shame, and the lower frequencies of the things that lead us into the downward spirals in life. And when you saw all these swirling colors, like all of these colors around you with the ancestors, and you're setting them free in your family tree, and like, can you recall, like, what was your emotions? What were you feeling? What was revealing in that moment to you about this reality when you were seeing things that just transcended reality?
Well, in my life, I don't even think this is not even unusual anymore, right? But it was like being swept in a tornado rainbow.
A tomato rainbow.
Tornado
Oh, okay,
rainbow.
okay, okay. Tornado rainbow. Got it. That makes
It was
sense.
like a rainbow, like a tornado of a rainbow. It was just like different colors, and I felt so expanded. I
Wow.
felt so expanded. Yeah, really, like my whole soul exploded to the ends of the universe.
Oh
But it
my.
was like thrilling. It was so
When
amazing.
when
What
it
a
comes
release.
to, go ahead.
It was such a release. It was
Yeah.
such a release. I felt them going. I felt them leaving and being blissed out.
Blessed. It
Yeah.
feels like such a release. Like I feel such a release just listening to you tell the story and recount this tale, just taking us down memory lane. It just feels so, you know, I mean, not only ancestral, but it feels magical, it feels mystical, it feels fantastical, it feels like something out of a book, you know? Like out of the pages of just, such a novel. Like it just feels like your life is a book, like your life is a movie. Like to be able to have that scenario play out in front of your very eyes. I mean, when you were young, do you feel like you were a very rational person or a logical person or a mental person, or were you a magical person and a mystical person and kind of like a fairy tale person? Like what kind of person would you describe yourself as?
Well, you know, one thing that I have been consistently, and I think maybe when I was young it was not so obvious, but when I was young, it was just, I'm so different from when I was young. I knew nothing, right? I was just kind of like getting the grades and doing the stuff. I think I started getting into a personality in my 20s when I realized I wasn't like other people. And I realized that I was really, one thing I didn't do was talk about people. I didn't talk about people like behind their backs. I didn't gossip. And I didn't like how it felt. And I could tell I was different. And then I think when I first left to London, I realized how, like, since then my life has been miraculous. Like since then, since I've recognized how to create miracles, like this is one thing, but truly my life has been like a movie. It has been like a book and a movie, and I think when you're a brave person, and to me, I mean, I don't even consider myself brave because I'm brave. I feel I have no choice but to do something stupid. To most people, it will be stupid, but to me, I'm like, I have to, I have to, right? And this is how you make miracles. Like, this is how you got to do something different, right? When you do something different and you do something unexpected, that's the hero's journey. That's when you suddenly break reality and you make that like, whoa, okay, going somewhere else now. That you're going in a different direction, and that's when the miracles can show up.
Right, right.
Because you're now matched to something else, a different timeline. You're not going to like jump slowly, you know? So I've actually been super miraculous for many years, manifesting things that just came out of nowhere.
Mhm.
But in the past few years, it's now become a skill.
Mm. Yes, yes, you've harnessed it. You've harnessed that power. You're a powerful manifester, you know?
I
You
am.
are. So, with the subconscious mind, can you tell us about, what do we misunderstand and what do we underestimate when it comes to what you were saying, Divya, about 95% of our world is controlled by that subconscious? Like, what are people not really understanding about it and taking for granted when they don't, govern the subconscious and allow themselves to be governed by it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only way to really get around that is to be super present. You
Okay.
know, presence, like being aware that you are like what is going on in your mind,
Hmm.
and not being a robot. So this has been my challenge the past couple of years, and it's to do with food. You
Hmm.
know, what you eat can drop your presence. The moment you eat as an addiction, meaning you're eating to cover your feelings, you lose consciousness, like you lose a bit of presence, right? You lose it because you've dulled your feelings and now you can't actually be fully present. And most people are running like that, right? Most people are actually eating and having an addiction around food. So I feel the things that you like to have in place are the practices. Like I have my meditation practice. I have now breathwork and kriya practices.
Hmm.
Stay walking in nature daily. That's so important to connect with nature. Like the more you can work with nature, the more you can sync with nature, the more with nature you are, the more you get energy. So it's when we're actually going in opposition to our natural method of being that we lose energy. When we're not sleeping well, when we're not getting sunlight, when we're not, eating, either follow the sun and moon, and we're not practicing the meditating and being present.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Mm,
As you were speaking, Divya, we had a comment down here by Tithra Zuli, and they were
mhm,
saying, when I eat, I have extreme anger and weird
mhm,
sexual fetishes. They're saying like
mm.
they just get these weird fantasies and also extreme, bouts of anger when they eat. Can you relate
Mm.
to that in different ways? That at certain times when you're consuming certain things, it gives you certain feelings and certain emotions that are certainly, maybe quite challenging?
Yeah, I think we have an association with certain things. So what's coming up for me is one, you can feel disappointed in yourself. There could be a disappointment element of, did you eat something? Maybe you didn't want to. But also, yeah, I feel maybe just an association to something in the past around food may have created that relationship. Maybe it's like being around angry people, growing up and you're having food. And so now every time you eat food, you feel that energy. So there's so many associations we would have had in our past that we're not really looking at now, but because it was just imprinted in us as a child, we just carry that with us wherever.
Good point. So associations we might have not analyzed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. That's a really good
Mm.
point. When you were talking earlier, Divya, at the beginning of our conversation, you mentioned that, there were times in your life where you were into drinking. There were times where you were smoking. There were times where you were doing all sorts of different substances. And you even said that at one point you tried everything. You tried everything. So what do you feel it was the difference? What were the main differences between like substance addiction and food addiction for you? Like, what were the main differences?
I think food addiction is different because you don't know it's an addiction. Like
Yeah,
you don't, you have to eat. Or at least, generally, obviously, we sometimes don't eat, right? So I've not eaten or drank anything, right, for days. So, but generally, it's something that is accepted, very accepted, it's something healthy.
right.
But when it comes to the other things, the substances and the yeah, smoking and all that stuff, you don't really think of it as an addiction. I mean, you don't really, yeah, it is an addiction, but it's not, it's also quite accepted, right? It's not, yeah, it's accepted in today's world. It's becoming a bit more cool not to drink and smoke these days, but for the longest time, it was perfect to do that. I thought
Yeah,
I
I
was.
mean, I don't think I was born during that time, but I know that there was a time when it was common to see doctors smoking, right? Like it was common to see, like it was very advertised in a different way. I mean, it wasn't very put down. It wasn't very discouraged. It was very encouraged, like in society, of course, in the movies, but even in just, it was very commonplace, it seems, back in the day. But you're saying today it's getting less and less cool to
It's
do it.
definitely getting less and less cool, at least in my reality.
Okay. So with the substances that, you know, are supported versus the ones that are not supported, what was one of the challenging substances that was hard for you to break, that is something that is more taboo, like that is very not supported in society?
Something that's not supported in society.
That
I
was
mean,
tough for you to let go. Yeah.
well, I think pot, like, that was a bit of like, because it's kind of a taboo, but it's not really. In many places it wasn't. It's kind of accepted in lots of places. In fact, it can be quite healthy, right? I mean, not healthy, but for some people, it can be quite soothing, especially if you have a certain kind of personality. But I think for me, I feel like when you have, especially for people who feel, and to be honest, everybody should feel like this, that you have a mission in the world, and it's just so overwhelming. It's just like there's really no way I'm going to do it, so I'm just going to, soothe myself with something that's going to make me slow and ineffective, and yeah, just not be able to do what I'm put here to do. And this is what people are also doing with food. Like they're doing the same thing. You just sabotage yourself with any kind of substance, including food. And that's why sometimes I think, dry fasting or fasting on water, whatever it is, when you really minimalize everything, that's when you really feel who you are. That's when you really feel your desires. And you can feel like, actually, I have all the clarity to make this happen.
Mm.
But no, most of us are consuming something. We're consuming something to keep ourselves small.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
so it limits our power, it limits our potential. It keeps us
absolutely.
small, keeps us playing small. So, when it came to meditation, because you referred to meditation before as something that was very applicable, very, very pertinent in your journey. How has meditation been such an impact and a vibration for you? And what is your meditation, regimen or routine like today? Like, how do you approach it?
My meditation journey has taken many, many different routes. Today it's about half an hour in the morning, and then I also do kriyas and breathwork practices for maybe another half an hour, 40 minutes.
Okay.
Good, I do it for an hour. Usually I don't. I will come back and do it again later in the day to kind of keep my energy up or to change my energy. But yeah, my regular meditation is a sort of Kundalini meditation, but it's just quiet after doing a certain few kriyas, which are like sort of breathwork and hand postures.
Mhm.
And I think this is the basic. I feel like this is the basic for anyone who's interested in a conscious lifestyle, like basic meditation so you're at peace. I cannot function without meditation. I can, but I can feel the heaviness. I can
Mhm.
feel the difference in my mind. Yeah, it's just, yeah. So my meditation practices, I do uh, breath work like um, yeah, just like a nose, alternating nose, and
Mhm.
then I call in through a little
Yeah.
inhaling breath, and then I go into a deep meditation for about 20 minutes.
Nice, nice. So Nadi
Yes.
Shodhana, and then the pranayam. That's beautiful. That's beautiful, Divya. So, when it comes to this, like, making time and intentionally doing meditation in that way, I can only imagine the change that it has in your day, doing the kriyas and just doing your habitual rituals, your routines and your regimens, how it changes the whole reality, it changes your mentality. And I had a conversation the other day with one of my good friends, and she was telling me, because she's traveled the world, she's been to Tibet and Nepal and all around these powerful meditators that just exude and just ooze this peace. Like, you just feel their peace being around them, and you can feel how they've just spent hours and hours and days and weeks and months and years in meditation, and how that vibration is just ringing in that vibrational frequency off of their
Mm.
vessel. And she said, to me, that for herself, peace is really her only metric. Like, that's the only measure that she uses to measure, like you were saying before, success or failure. Her only metric is her peace. Like, that's what she uses. So when it comes to meditation, how would you say your peace has led to your profit in life, where many people will see somebody sitting down in meditation and say, "Oh, that's not productive. They're not doing anything. They're not in movement. They can't be improving because they're not moving, right?" How would you say that peace has actually led to being profitable in some ways?
I think peace is everything. I think you can only like attract as much as your nervous system can hold. Like if you're in a state of anxiety, like nothing good really happens. I don't think that you can actually go out there and like have a clarity of mind when your nervous system is in like shock and doing this for hours. You know,
It
it's a
just
bit
hit me. That just
camera,
what you said.
Cheryl.
It just hit me. That was so real. That was so real. Like you said, when you're. I need to repeat that. I need to repeat that. When you're in anxiety, nothing good really happens when you're in anxiety. Like when you're so anxious and you're just, your nervous system is out of whack. You know, how much prosperity is being attracted to you, how much abundance is being attracted to you, how much, how magnetic are you when you're, chronically anxious. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
absolutely. You can't think straight, right? And so today, for instance, I mean, like today, I'm still not 100% here with you because I had 3 hours of sleep. And so the whole day I've been doing my practices to like, okay, get myself here, come back to your conscious mind. All right, I've done this practice. Now I do another practice. Then I do a little bit of yoga. And, it helps me get to a certain level, but it's still work. But if I didn't have those practices, I would be dysfunctional today, 3 hours of sleep. How could I even think, right? Yeah,
Wow.
so
So thank you.
definitely, I don't think, like honestly, right now, I think the way my meditation practices and my all of my breath work and all of my practices have taken me to a whole other level of
Okay.
creating. It's not, it's also just the way that things come for me.
Okay.
It's like the intuition, the ideas, the just the clarity. I mean, the intuition is amazing, right? Like just that kind of like do this, do this, do this, look here, turn here, email comes in. It's like the universe is my PA,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I'd be like, should I buy this thing? Ding, message, check your finances. Great. All right. Da, 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 like
The universe has got your back, the
it's
universe.
correct. When
Oh
I'm
my.
meditating, when I'm at peace, everything can come and flow to me. But if I don't, then I'm now chasing my own tail, just trying to get back the day.
Yeah. What's one of those scenarios, Divya, if you can recount and like share a story with us of a scenario where you were maybe a little frantic, a little frenetic, it wasn't copacetic, everything wasn't in order, it was maybe chaotic, and you were wondering what to do, and instead you just sat and you just said, okay, I'm just gonna be still, I'm just gonna breathe, and then something channeled and you had all that you need. Like, what was one of those scenarios for you?
Gosh, I'm trying to think about a chaotic one. I mean, there's been so many moments,
Mhm.
so many moments. And I also love particularly the mantras.
Okay.
There's meditation, but I have so many tools, right? And we haven't even talked about your book, Jerome.
I know, I know, I know. We're getting. I know.
I've
I'm
got it
so
here with
interested in. I just can't help it. I'm so interested in you. I was just like, I know.
When's he gonna ask me about the book?
Okay, we're getting to it. We're getting to it. But yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So yeah, so meditation. So many moments that I felt God, we're getting into this, but yeah, easily when I'm in trouble, I would chant a mantra and close my eyes, focus, and do a mantra, and the situation would become positive. Like the Gayatri mantra is so powerful for that. I love mantras, right? Mantras are sound vibrations; they just change things. There was a time, oh my God, this is actually one of my
Okay.
favorite ways because I'm so into the level of consciousness now because of this incident. Like I was on a boat in Ibiza, horribly hungover. Everything was not going well, getting angry about everything. My boyfriend, my ex-boyfriend, he took me to this place called Cala Negra, completely dark, horrible bay. It's Black Bay. It's called Black Bay, right? So I arrived there now in the most crabby mood. I'm like so angry. I'm like, why are we here? This place sucks. The water is dark blue. The cliff is black. The beach is a yoga mat. It's just like broken bits of yoga mat. You can't even lie on the beach. There is no beach. Like we're supposed to hang out here all day. I go down and I decide to meditate, right? I go into this meditation, which is actually, as I mentioned, the Korean one. This was different. I mean, I think all the meditations have different powers, but I did that. I was sitting there in meditation. I was singing. I was just getting into this space. I came out. I came out to the boat. I walked upstairs. The entire bay was like 5 times bigger than it was when I arrived. It looked massive. The sun had come out. The water was now light blue. I could see down. It looked like the ocean before, like endlessly deep. And now it was like 3 meters deep. It was like a giant swimming pool. Now there were other boats. The cliff looked massive and beautiful and sparkling because the sun was on it. It was like a different reality, a completely different reality. And all I did was meditate and stay, like change my state of consciousness. And I was so happy. Like my presence was so lit up and my reality was lit up. Literally a different reality. It was so starkly obvious. So like I completely like 100% behind the power of meditation, consciousness practices, 100%.
Oh my
The
God.
experience is the experiencer, right?
Yes, yes, your consciousness. Oh my gosh. This is a testimony, you know? This is such a powerful word and just a testimony to show the power of something that I mean it's an ancient practice for a reason. I mean the reason why I believe, reciting mantras, chanting, meditation, like all these forms of vibration have survived all these centuries, all these years, and all this time is because it works. It works. Like if it didn't work so powerfully, it couldn't survive. Like it wouldn't have been passed down from generation to generation to generation. And just you can use it in any situation. And I love how you had a lens, like you had a particular perception and a particular perspective within the collective, but then it broadened the scope of your horizons, it broadened the scope of your vision, and you were able to see so many things that were already there, but in such a different way. That's amazing, you know? That's amazing. Wow. So what a testament just to have that because I mean I myself I've been chanting mantras, daily. These days I've been reading from the Bhagavad Gita, I've
Wow.
been reading about, Krishna, Arjun. I've been reading about, so many things and I've also been reading about karma yoga and the path of the way of action and just honestly like chanting like the Lakshmi mantra, the Rudra mantra, and Ganesh, and like clearing out the obstacles, and the Rudra for health, and Lakshmi for abundance, and then Saraswati for knowledge and memory, and thinking, and like all these powerful words that I'm reciting that I don't know what these words mean, like I mean I know what it says they mean, you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
but I'm chanting something in a whole nother language, and they say that the Sanskrit is like a revealed language.
Yeah.
So like we're gonna this is a great segue into the book.
Yeah.
So what do you feel like, first of all, that we're actually saying when we're chanting these mantras? Like what is actually happening? Is it the words themselves that's the most important, or is it the vibrational like energy behind the words? What do you feel is actually happening that is changing our reality when we chant that way?
It's, yeah, so powerful. I mean, I feel it's the vibrational. You're tuning greater, deeper and deeper into the vibration of the words. The words have an energy. Like I feel words are spells, right? Which is why, yeah, I'm just going on this whole trajectory now on words. But when we're tuning into a value, this energy of a mantra, you become the mantra. You become the energy. It becomes part of you. And the more you do it, the more you align with it. The more you do it, the more you align with it. So it's been so powerful. When I was reading your book, it was like I was going through my own process because I was thinking, oh my God, like I just went through a 7-day dry fast that was so, so hard. And the Lakshmi mantra got me through it. I literally would chant the Lakshmi mantra and I stopped my hunger. So that was when I was reading your book and I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. Absolutely. Mantras can change you and transform you. And the more you align with the mantra, I mean, the story with your book was just, he's becoming more divine, right? I don't know if I'm giving it away here, but
No, yeah, go ahead. So you aligned with Vikram. So
yeah,
Vikram was someone that you were really in alignment with, it sounds.
absolutely. Like I felt like, but there were so many concepts to even break down. Like, when you become more divine, you become less human in some ways. Because to be human, not less human, but to be human is to have desire.
Mm,
The divine doesn't necessarily have desire. I mean, it depends on which facet you go, but God does not need anything, right?
right,
The divinity does not need anything.
right.
We're humans, we want, we crave, we need. And so as you align yourself with the divine, you stop needing things, and then you become divine. You
Right.
become divine.
Right. Oh my goodness. So yeah, tell me about your thoughts, Divya, when it comes to, when it comes to the book, The Breatharian from Bihar. So for those who don't know, of course, Vikram, he's given, the mala, right? He's given the mala, the Rudraksha, and like Shiva's tears, Rudraksha mala, and he's given that task of chanting this thing every day, and it's going to remove his hunger. It's going to take away something that was so traumatizing for him in his youth, seeing his father pass and seeing his family, in starvation. But it brought them to whole other situations. So can you talk about like what were some of the points, in the book that really stuck out to you, that really popped out to you and had an impact? Yeah.
Mm. Well, there were quite a few moments. I felt like him giving up his desire for everything. He was just slowly giving up his desire for everything and he was becoming a god. He was able to, when you don't have desire and you're not consumed by desire, what can you be?
Mm.
What can you become? Like, you can be superhuman. Like, he was just consuming so much information because there was no distraction. There was no like constant thought or thinking. I mean, like scientifically, we'd spend 15% of our time actually thinking about food, right? We've got like just thinking, am I buying this? Am I doing that? So we take away all of that thought. You now become a different human being. Um,
Yeah.
I kind of giving up who he was in a
Mm.
way, being separate from others,
Hmm.
and how watching him become a god,
Okay.
watching him slowly become a god
Mm.
was so powerful.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Did it surprise you? At any turns, were there any things that really kind of surprised you in a way, like that you were like, oh, I didn't expect that?
Well, I won't. I think this book actually flowed really well, right?
Okay.
I'm a writer as well, so I was like I was like, what's he going to do next?
Yeah.
And what I loved actually was how it was such a teaching book. It
Mm.
was a teaching book without being a preaching book.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, beautifully written with so many lessons embodied. It was told like the monk who sold his Ferrari style, or I think he wrote something, the Britarian that sold his Bugatti, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the books. That's one of the books that changed my life. The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robin Sharma. I read that back in I think 2019, and yeah, it changed. That was a course corrector. It corrected the course that I was on at that time for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a fantastic book. And I think that's how, like I can see the similarities with the way that you are writing as well. You're doing the teaching. Um, but it's through a story that is so organic and it's like the mother's love and letting go. And each part being the Raja Yoga, the Bhakti Yoga, like how we serve. I loved how you had that spot, how, Vikram was going through this whole breathing, because
Mm.
it's the silence between the breath, right? It's the silence between the breath. And that is the most powerful moment when you actually breathless.
Right.
When you are breathless, you are actually God, right? Because you need nothing. You don't
Yeah.
even need a breath.
Yeah. So you're talking about the Raja Yoga chapter with him and the Avaduta, you
Yeah.
know?
That
Yeah.
was cool. I love that because I practice Kriya Yoga where, something like cosmic breath, and the power is when you hold your breath.
The
You
cosmic.
do, you get that. So that was, another beautiful moment. So you're teaching in all of these moments, and even like the part where he was talking about pure, ah, I am full before eating
Mm.
because you're breathing. That was beautiful.
Oh, I love it. I love that you captured so many lines, from the book. I didn't, I'm glad that you say that it was teaching instead of preaching, because I didn't want to be preachy. I didn't want to be pushy. But books and stories, even though, I've written and published, non-fictional, books, I really, really love fiction. Like, I really love fiction because I think in a story, You can have empathy, you can have compassion, you can really put on someone else's skin, you can wear someone's shoes, you can see through someone else's eyes. And to be able to have that lens, to see the world through another character, you know, you can not only empathize with them and connect with them on that level, but it can, you know, through that osmosis, you know, it can teach you so many lessons. Like whatever they learn, you learn, you know, their failures become, you know, your learnings, your lessons. Their successes become your victories. You know, their triumphs become your success. You know, like everything that they go through, you grow through, you know, as well.
Mm.
So my goodness, you know, we can break it down for a second. So when we're talking about Raja Yoga, my inspiration was years ago. This was back in at least maybe like 2020, 2021. I came upon this book, and I don't know if you've read this book, Divya. It was called the Avaduta Gita.
No.
Yeah, it's called the Avaduta Gita. And
Mm.
that's the first time I ever heard the word Avaduta. You know, there's word like, of course, you have the words like the rishis, and you know, you have the yogis, and
Mm.
you know, you have like all of these different segments, like these different archetypes of these spiritual masters, these ascended masters, and these people that have relinquished and released and just, you know, realized, you know. And one of them is the avaduta that just completely has let go of everything. You know, the Ramana Maharshi, you know, like the just in the cave, in a loincloth, you know, nothing, just completely given away all possessions, let go of their family, let go of their name, let go of everything, and just the breath, like you said, the cosmic breath, that awareness. So I was trying to think in my mind, like, how would a person like this, you know, exist in this reality? Like, how would it be like to be that person? So I'm trying to think for myself, what would, when they come in contact, what were some of the moments for you with him in the Avaduta that stuck out?
Well, I think the strongest moment was actually that in between breaths and then the silence.
Hmm.
Like what I also felt is something I didn't mention in the book earlier was I was actually afraid when I first started reading this book.
Why?
Because I was afraid I was going to become a Breatharian. I was like, is this?
You were afraid it was gonna, you thought it was gonna seduce you? You thought it was gonna seduce you into becoming breatharian?
Yes, it was a seduction, and it was like, and there was a part of me that was like, I mean, I could do it. I've done it for 9 days. I mean, I could just keep going, right? Like, it's enjoyable, but I miss food. So, because I like food too. I love food. So, yeah, it was a scary read. I have to say, the book actually did bring me to a scary place for a while.
Wow. So that's a new spin on it. So I haven't heard that before. Thank you for giving a fresh take, you know, a very refreshing, you know, response and feedback. I received that. So not that it was a thriller or like a horror story, but it was like, it was scary to read it because of you thinking that this is going to change me. Like
Yeah.
this might rearrange me, this might change me in a way that, am I ready for that? Because in our last conversation, Divya, you did say that you enjoy food just as much as you enjoy dry fasting.
Yes.
Like both of them you enjoy pretty much on the same level.
Yes, I
Okay.
do, actually. And I think that's like part of me loves being divine, and the other part relishes being human. I
Right.
love both. It's like one is a feeling, right? I love the dry fasting, air fasting, feeling, the feeling of not being on anything.
Hmm.
And then I also love the feeling of taste and flavor.
Hmm.
And we saw that so much in the book, right? We saw that coming up all the time. He had a mistaste.
Yeah, yeah. Even with Gopal, you know, Gopal and Nikita, you know, and full disclosure, Nikita is actually one of my friends, Nikita Jain. She's the one that helped me with, you know, the geography, with the layout, with the, you know,
Oh,
just the scenarios, because I haven't personally been to India. So Nikita, my friend, she helped me out with a lot of that, the history and just the locations. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Amazing. Well done. I saw Rikita there in the acknowledgements, and I'm glad she's got a character name.
Yeah. I had to acknowledge it. I had no choice. She had to be in there.
Writer
Yeah.
to name your friends or your enemies.
And she plays the same instrument as well. She actually plays that instrument. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So
Wow.
she sings, she plays it. And when you're talking about how you feared that the book would seduce you, speaking of seduction, can you talk about your thoughts of the Tantra yoga chapter?
Yeah, I thought that was powerful as well, actually. But just to be present, right? Because so many people have these ideas around Tantra
Hmm.
and how it's a whole other thing, but it's really just about the breath. It's about being present, feeling your body, being in your body. I thought it was actually quite it was powerful, it was seductive, right? It was, you can see that you don't need to actually have physical intimacy for it to be a very fulfilling, I wouldn't say necessary sexual experience, but
Hmm.
intimate. It's an intimate experience
Right.
to such a level of union. So
Hmm.
that's what the whole tantra is. It's union, right? Beautiful, beautiful. I loved it how it was placed, and it resonates very, very strongly with me. I
Okay,
used
I'm
to live on
glad.
Tantra Island, so that was very different kind of tantra.
You said what was different kind of tantra?
Well, there's so many types of tantra, right? And what most people understand is tantra is like out there. It's and no judgment, like whatever whatever rocks your boat. But even this, I remember I went for a tantra class and someone was doing this, my partner at the time, and I cried because I just cried and I healed something because I'm like, oh wow, I'm being touched. Yes, it was just as simple as a very fine touch like that, very fine, the softest touch, like it's almost like not even fully touching. And that released something of like, wow, I'm being touched by someone I love. And I just healed something there, because I think growing up and being a woman, there's many times in my life where I'm like, I actually don't want this person to touch me, but I let it happen, So it was healing because I knew what it was to be touched in a loving way. And this is the power of Tantra. I think, Tantra can be extremely healing without going into the deeper elements of it or, some of the more progressive. There's so many elements of Tantra, but simply a touch or not even touching in this case, where in your book, they were not even touching.
Right.
It was just union. It was breathing together. And that is Tantra too, just breathing together.
Yeah.
So
Wow,
beautiful.
that is amazing. So you had a release just through touch, just that tactile, just that feeling, I mean, in that context, with tears coming down your eyes because you're being touched by someone you love. How emotional, How emotional is that to not have to have such a visceral and a rough and a like how people think that it has to be to get to the heights of ecstasy and bliss and to the heights of all of these our fantasies and stuff. No, you said just barely even grazing your hand, your skin, and it was I mean just erupting. Amazing, amazing. So how did you enjoy the love interest? This was actually the first book that I ever wrote a love story. A love story. I never
Oh,
wrote a love story
wow.
before this book. So this was my first attempt to write a love story. How did you enjoy their dynamic together with her, I guess, being the mentor at first, and then them both kind of coming together in that way?
I love that. I thought it was perfect. I love that she was the mentor. I think it couldn't have been any other way, right? Because he would have to have respected her and also felt that connection deeply enough for someone to to take his attention, even, right?
Mhm.
It was for someone who's he's already like a god,
Mhm.
so he
Yeah.
needs a goddess, a shakti to his Shiva, as he said.
Right.
I thought it was expressed beautifully. It came out just perfectly. It was quite natural. Uh, yeah. I'm curious
Awesome.
about how you wrote it yourself. Like, did you come from experience? Like, how did you channel that in there?
Well, my experience really, I mean, I have read a lot of things. Like I've read a lot of books. Some things dip into, eroticism. Some things dip into, just for different types of fantasy, different types of, and what I've been enjoying in these past years has been spiritual knowledge.
Mm.
Like spiritual knowledge, like Vikram with his studies with Shivnath, like in the Jnana, how do you pronounce it?
Jnana,
Jnana yoga?
Jnana, I think it's Jnana. Jnana.
Jnana. Okay,
Yeah.
jnana yoga, with that path, like with him consuming all of the books and the wisdom and the knowledge and just, him debating with different people or them debating with him and him just like replying with just, those wise replies and, just him being able to stand on his own and come to his own understandings, but then at the end, like let it all go. Like he learned all of this only to just release it and then going into karma yoga, with karma yoga later on, like being in service and selfless service. That's what I was talking about with the Bhagavad Gita. Like that's teaching me that when you nourish the gods, they nourish you, like
Mm.
being nourishing, being encouraging, and be in flourishing, in that way. That is what I seek to be like today. So I feel like I'm in my karma yoga chapter, of my life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. You have a servant's heart, right? It makes everything like just based from love. It's
Yeah.
yeah. I loved it. And actually I now I remember because I read your book in two halves. I
Oh,
left it after I think I got scared. I was like, this book is terrifying the shit out of me.
wow,
This-
wow.
Let's be human for a while.
It left an impression. It left an impression. Oh my goodness. That's like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's a compliment in some way.
Yeah, it totally is, right? I mean, if you're a better writer, no, of course, it's a great compliment. But I needed to put it aside because it was making me go through some emotions, I think. And then, but when I came back to it, and now I remember those parts when you were talking about the politicians and the questions, the answers were just genius. I was thinking you downloaded half of this book, right? Like you just, woo!
I have to ask you, Divya, in your personal opinion, what did you think about the ending, with the bhakti yoga? Like, how do you feel about the way that it transitioned and finally, ended? Just give your feelings on it because I do kind of like there's several books that I've written that they don't really have a happy ending. It's not really
Yeah,
like a big, like happily ever after and this happened. Like somebody read the book and she was so, I mean, distraught. Like her heart was broken because that relationship it didn't end up the way that she wanted it to. Like she in her mind, she
yeah,
saw him and her like being happily ever after. And because it didn't go that way, she told me, like, Jerome, you broke my heart, And I was like, dang, I'm sorry. So, how was your feeling for the way that things ended up?
well, I cried, but
You did.
I did cry. I was being emotional. Um, but I don't mind when books end in a way that isn't all happily ever after because that's life, right? It's not about like the ending. Is it a satisfying ending is more important than whether it's a happy ending.
Mm,
And I did find it a satisfying ending,
okay.
you know?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
What made you cry? I didn't know that you cried. What made you cry?
I think just the beauty of it all, I think the way that things were wrapping up because I followed his entire journey of, going through every yoga as he's on his own hero's journey too. And then at the very end, it turns out that this is actually not such a pretty thing. and, and what he's been craving for all the time. you don't even know what he's craving for, right? Because he is a man with no cravings, but it's about sacrifice at the end of the day. And and that's actually the essence of the book. So it makes sense thematically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think usually when people cry, it's always because of resonance.
Mm.
So, coming from a writing background too, I'm like, I understand why that happened, but also just, um, yeah, it was beautiful. It was beautiful and sad at the same time.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I appreciate, like I feel you did justice to it.
Wow. And you really got the theme on sacrifice. You know, that is a theme that I wanted to, to be spoken, on sacrifice and what would we let go? What would we give up? What would we release to to gain something in another capacity, even though there usually can be a consequence or a cost when something is lost, there can be a cost, you know?
Mm.
So, even with the theme on family, with his mother and his brother, for you, your sisters, your family, like that dynamic, did it do anything for you just to see the family dynamic?
Mm, in terms of sacrifice or just the general?
It's interesting because you talk about the hero's journey that we're
Yeah.
all on, and his journey kind of had to be supported. Like you know
Mm,
if you could put yourself in the shoes of a mother who's watching her son become a god, like you say, and you can't hold them, you can't keep them, you can't contain them in that space. You have to release them like a bird in a cage will always be fed, but it forgets its own wings, you know?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think he has to go home, right? That's just how the hero always goes home with the Holy Grail, with the sword. And it was the mother's love that he also wanted to acknowledge that he had to go back to where he was from.
Mm.
Yeah, I thought it was a part of it, an important part of his journey, and to see his brother had changed as well. So things change when you're away and you come back in reality.
Yeah.
That was, yeah, beautiful as well. I think it was, yeah, you definitely needed to have the family in there
Mhm.
doing their things. It brought a whole other element to the story. I was glad that they were still where they were. It's, so much to love about the story, really.
And how does it inspire you, lastly, as you're a writer yourself, if you can let people know where to find your writings, how does it inspire you going forward as a writer?
Well, for me, I have my book, The Dry Fasting Formula. It's been an ebook for a while.
Mhm.
I actually have a creative writing MFA. So I studied writing extensively and I wrote a novel, I've written scripts. I never published any of them. But this book, The Dry Fasting Formula, which is actually half storytelling of all my stories of sailing, while I was creating a formula of how to have a dry fasting lifestyle
Mhm.
while also having food and enjoying your life and not putting on weight and not getting younger because I was in the sun all the time and reversing aging. So yeah, so you can get my book now on my website, Hack
Yeah.
Fasting. You can also click a link on my link in bio. You can get my book on my link in bio as well. And I'm going to be rewriting it. I've been saying this a while, but some things are kind of slowing me down. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm going to change it to the air fasting lifestyle.
We're
You know
gonna
about I'm like on a mission here.
we're gonna get Divya's, collector's edition, revised edition, dry fasting. We're gonna get, the book in its completion. We're gonna get a whole nother edition. I love this because, years ago, Divya, I used to write short stories back when I
Oh,
was in high school. I used to write short stories when I was in a boarding school. I remember they sent me to a boarding school, and I just had this creative, just this flow within me, but I never ever completed anything. Like I never brought a story to its completion. It was
mm,
only when I started fasting, it was only when I started this journey that I finally started bringing projects to their completion, you know?
mm,
So I think it was like it was transferable. Like I guess you could say the discipline of hunger. You know,
Mm.
if I was able to discipline something so powerful as hunger, then I could discipline the rest of my life in different ways. And that was one of the disciplines, was like, can I take something from beginning to end, you know, from start to finish? Because I started so many things, I didn't finish a lot of things. But when I
Yeah.
did this journey I'm on today with you, you know, this is when I finally started getting the confidence to take something through its course. So, I mean, you got it. It's already inside you, you know, it's in you.
Yeah. I think the writer's journey is it's a really powerful one, you know, to be a writer, to put your work out there, to really show who you are. As an author, like as a novelist, I really couldn't put out my work because of the fear of what it would be, because I was writing stories that were based on my life, which I embellished, and and I was so afraid people would think certain things of me. I was writing romantic comedies at the time,
Mhm.
so yeah, I think now at this state with who I am today, you're right. I could do it again, but then you get really like submerged in it. Didn't you get totally submerged in this story?
Yeah. I can write for hours, hours. Like yeah, like that's one of the things, you know, I love doing these conversations. I love having these talks, you know, these interviews and just having the dance of dialogue. We call it conversation cuisine. You
Right.
know, it's like a dialogue dinner. Like we're really, this is food. This is nourishing for me. And when it comes to writing, you know, it's so exciting, it's so inviting, it's so delighting, it's so igniting when I'm writing, you know, like it just, the whole day, the sun goes up and the sun goes down, you know, and I don't see where the time has gone. Like the time just flies for sure.
Yeah.
So if you find something like that, you've found something, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. It was years. It was years of my life. So it's beautiful, but it's an investment. Like that's all you're doing, kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a sacrifice. It's a
It's a
sacrifice. You know, same as, you know, his sacrifice, like he made that commitment. It is a commitment, you know, because I don't know, like I read something by Stephen King called On Writing. And
yeah,
Stephen King wrote this book about his life and about his process and his philosophy on writing.
yeah.
And, you know, he said something to the effect of, like, if he doesn't, he's like myself when it comes to writing. He says there are plotters and there are pantsers. You know, some people plot, you know, they have that whole outline, they know exactly where they're going. That's like J.K. Rowling in the Harry Potter series. She already knew book 6 when she started book 1, right? That's not me. That's
Yeah.
not me. I'm a pantster. I fly by the seat of my pants, you know? I'm like,
Okay.
I don't know where this story is going, but it's leading me somewhere, you know?
Mm,
So it was throughout like the beginning that I was like, oh, we're gonna do all the yogas. We're gonna do all the yogas. Like I didn't even know that was gonna happen. I had no
yeah.
idea. But it was through a certain point, it was a moment where I was like, oh, why not? You know, that why not? You start to ask yourself, why not? And so, you know, just being in that way, it can take you into so many spaces, into so many places that you didn't prepare for, you didn't plan for. But if you don't, like, I feel like ideas are like disembodied entities that
Yes.
they're waiting to be given life. And if an idea flies to you, if you get the opportunity to be blessed with an idea that you channel from wherever it comes from, and you give that idea life, that it has flown to you, like you have been selected, you know, to give this, to bring this idea out, to give it birth, you know, to birth this idea into the world. But if you don't honor that idea, like if you almost dishonor it, if you kind of discard it and you say, oh, you know, I'll get to it eventually, you know, you don't really write it down, you let it go, I feel like ideas will fly off to someone else who is ready to give it life. And we've seen it so many times, Divya, where somebody will point at the television or point at an advertisement or point at something and be like, that was my idea.
Absolutely.
That was my idea, you
Yeah.
know? And it was, you know, for that moment. And, you know, we didn't take advantage and it flew somewhere else. That's happened to me so many times. So many times. So yeah.
Absolutely. 100% agree.
Oh man. So bring your ideas. We need your ideas, Divya. We need them. The world needs you. Yeah.
So many things to do. What do I do first?
We'll start with breathing. We'll start with breathing.
Breathing. I'm going on this whole new trajectory, right? With air fasting now and like just trying to make everybody know about dry fasting in a cool way. You've got your prana fasting, you've got your absolute fasting, you've got the water fasting. You're like, we just need to all start talking about this. So I've got so much to do, and I really, I'm treasuring any information that I can get in that direction because I'm feeling like this was giving me some real inspiration. Yeah, even around presence. Around presence, I feel presence is kind of the base. The base of like really excelling in your life and doing what you want to do is presence. What can you do to increase presence? Whether that's, not eating crap, eating nothing, meditating, kriyas, breath work, staying present in the moment consciously by just being here,
Yeah.
being in the body.
Yeah. Presence. It's the gift. It's the gift that keeps on giving, our presence. Yeah.
Presence is key. Yeah.
So thank you for your presence today, Divya. Dhanyavad. Dhanyavad, Divya. Thank you so much for just showing up authentically you, just just in your wholeness, in your completeness and just in your righteousness of knowing your way, knowing your path, knowing your hero's journey that you're on today. You're still living, you're still giving, you're still thriving. So thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Room, for this opportunity. It's always so good to chat with you, and I hope soon, and I think it will be soon, that I will see you soon.
Oh yeah. It's gonna happen. It's destiny. It's destiny. All right. All right.
Yeah.
Take care. Take
Take
care.
care. Take care.
All right.